Welcome to the Fighting Spirits podcast with me, Gareth Davies. In this episode of the Fighting Spirits podcast, I headed up to the Hollywood Hills, Los Angeles, to speak with Ben Davison, the head trainer of the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. Here's what he had to say. There's a big task ahead of you now.
There was a big task when he was 27.5 stone. People thought it was mission impossible, but we're here today.
But he seemed very, very sharp down in the gym with you today, that there's the boxing mind is ticking over all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, with against a puncher like Deontay Wilder, you've got to be smart and you've got to know what to do in certain scenarios, and it needs to be that drilled into you that you're unconsciously competent at it. You do it without thinking because he's very quick as well. So we just repeat, work on scenarios, and have the game plan subconsciously built in.
You've clearly watched a lot of his performances, yeah?
Yeah, over and over.
And you said to me when we chatted in Manchester, completely different game plan. I've got a completely different way of what I want Tyson Fury to do against Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder's the most dangerous fighter in world boxing. So, you know, it needs to be a thorough job, and that's what we're doing here.
Can Tyson stop him?
100%. But people will doubt it, and actions speak louder than words. But people will see. You know, it's like I say, actions speak louder than words. There's no point in me keep sitting this hand, Tyson can punch, because people will see and find out.
Do you feel pressure on you going into this fight?
Not really, no, because you know, I just focus on the job that he's doing what I need to do, bringing the best out in Tyson, which is what my job is. Yeah.
Is there pressure on you, Ben, in this fight?
No, because my job is to bring the best out in Tyson. You know, I just focused on what I need to do, and that is my job, to get the best out of Tyson, and I think I've done that so far pretty well, to come from where he's come from to now, and the occasion itself will bring another few gears out of Tyson, and you know, it's the fighters to do the fighting that get in the ring. I don't need to worry about what Tom, Dick and Harry have to say on the street corner. I just need to focus on how my fighters feel. They believe in my work, and we're there. We're.
Have there been tough times for you at all through any of the camps or through in the build up to this?
Yeah, of course. I mean, people don't really know the extent of you know, where Tyson was at the very beginning. He was in a bad place, and you know.
So none of that where he said I had no will anymore, I had nothing left in me, I was almost not interested in living. It was that bad for him.
It was very bad, you know. Sometimes I used to look across and think, I don't know if this job can be done. And I genuinely did think that, you know, as did many other people. He put his trust in me, and I had to put my trust in him. He put his trust in me in a sense of, when we come together, everybody thought, why has he hired him? And I had to put my trust in him, that I had to leave the gym that I had at home and the fighters that I was working with there, and make a commitment to Tyson. We made a commitment to each other, and we've ended up here, you know. But it's been, like I say, it's been a tough road, a long road, but we're here now, and it's been a good journey.
Were you originally going to stay in Big Bear all the way to fight week?
We went over to Big Bear, but I hadn't made a complete decision. Obviously, when we got there, learnt a bit more about the altitude, and all through it, I was speaking to experts in that field and that, and just with all the data that I got and all the information that come back to me, it was better to have a 3 to 4 week. We had a 4-week period over there, and to come down and reap the benefits of that period down at sea level to coast him into peaking for the fight.
And are you happy with the environment you got here?
Yeah, of course. You know, it's a nice area. Obviously, it's a nice house, but there is 6 or 7 men here that all want their own space, so it had to be a large
giant mansion,
a large property. But you know, all that doesn't mean anything. It's just about getting in there on the night and the work that's put on in the gym and Tyson's mental state and getting the job done that needs doing. You know, whether we was driving around in a broken down minibus or each living on sofa beds, you know, it doesn't matter. In fact, I was on a sofa bed.
Because there were, you know, ahead of the Klitschko fight, they were living in caravans up in, you know, in I can't remember where it was now. Was it in Lancashire?
Liverpool.
In Liverpool, yeah.
A bed's a bed, you know. We've got a kitchen for Tyson to have his food done. The best of food, it's all cooked fresh for him. You know, it's the way I like things to be done. It's not about the house. He needs a good kitchen for quality food to be cooked there and then for him. Fresh food every time. You know, we've got a group here that everybody's got a role to play in what they do. So we needed a property that could hold that many people and had a good kitchen.
Big personalities, everyone.
Big personalities everywhere. Everybody will like to have their own space at their own times. I certainly do, and it's been a very good training camp. It's been like I say, everybody plays their role.
And presumably, it's quite nice having the wildcard gym to go down to. Freddie Roach is down there, you know, trainer of the year so many times, Hall of Fame trainer. No doubt you'll chat to him over a few weeks as well.
Of course, we went and had a chat with Freddie when we was down here in LA for the press conference, and he was very welcoming, very nice fella. Anyway, I got talking to him and his assistant Marie. And they was very accommodating and helping us out and asked us if we needed anything and booked us a slot in the private part of the gym underneath. And as we went up to Big Bear and was planning on coming back down with all the data that was gathered, I spoke to Marie, and her and Freddie have been absolutely perfect. You know, any times we wanted in the gym, any slots, bang, that's your slot. Helped us find this place, put us in touch with a place for the sparring partners. Any sparring, need this, need that. They've helped us out with everything, so they're really, really good people.
And Roach says to me today that Freddie Roach says to me today that he believes that Tyson will outbox Deontay Wilder.
Of course, you know, listen, this people bargaining on Deontay Wilder's power, but he can box as well. Deontay can box. He's 6'7", 83-inch reach. He's 15.5 stone. He's very quick. He's got a very, very good jab. Obviously, a very, very good right hand. He'd be a problem for anybody, but Tyson's more of a problem for anybody.
Is he a freakish heavyweight, Tyson?
The pair of them are. Both of them are freaks of nature. Absolute freaks of nature. But they've both got different physical attributes from being a freak of nature. Tyson's heavier than Deontay, but still moves, has better coordination, better balance than Deontay. Deontay's 6'7", tall, very, very quick and very powerful. Tyson's got unbelievable reflexes. You know, they've both got different attributes of being freaks of nature that they are.
What would it mean to you to have led Tyson back, got him back to a great place? Arguably, he says he's in the best shape he's ever been. Your strength and conditioning coach is saying that he prepared Tyson for the Klitschko fight. He said he's in better shape now than he was for that fight. What would it mean to you to have been a major part, to have played a major part in overseeing Tyson regain the world title?
I've already achieved what my initial goal was after meeting Tyson. You know, after meeting Tyson and learning what type of person he was, my initial goal was to get the man back happy again. You know, because I could see where he was. I got to know him, and we gelled very well. I like him a lot as a person, you know, and although we're trainer and fighter, he's a friend to me as well. So I said to myself, you know, I just wanted to make sure that man was back happy again, and we've achieved that. So everything else is the cherry on top. Obviously, it'll be a fantastic and amazing achievement. I'll be over the moon, but I'll be over the moon for Tyson because he's the one that's done it, you know. And yeah, it'll be the cherry on top.
What have you done? Have you drawn any expertise from outside your group as well?
Of course, I'm always open to learning and discussing and talking with. You can't be a master of all. My job is the boxing job. That's what I know. Kristian's here for the strength and conditioning. We have a nutritionist, David Stash.
S-T-A-S-H.
S-T-A-C-H-E. But I'm always discussing with. I've got a few people in those fields that I'm always discussing with. Always discussing with and gathering more data. And
and the fun is always here as well, isn't it?
Of course, it's a big part of it. You know, negative energy around Tyson's no good. We all like to have a laugh, but we know where to draw the line as well, which is important.
When you look at Tyson, you said you've already achieved what you set out to achieve, but can you project forward? And you know, there's a rematch clause with Deontay Wilder. Obviously, depending on what happens in the fight, how the fight goes. Presumably, there's a second fight with Deontay Wilder, bearing on Tyson winning. Would you relish that big fight in the UK with Anthony Joshua and Tyson as well? Because it will be so big, so incredible, so massive.
Yeah, of course it'll be a massive fight, a good fight. But Anthony Joshua's not on our radar at the minute. You know, obviously he's one of the. You know, there's three of them at the top here, and he's the other one left out. But you know, our sole focus is on Deontay Wilder, and nobody else or nothing else matters until after December the 1st.
So there's no focus on that at all?
No focus at all. He's made his date of April. You know, he's obviously not going to box the winner of this, which they've made it clear. Eddie's made it clear. So I suppose he'll probably box the winner of White Chisora or something like that, which is actually on after this fight, even though Eddie said he needs to know before the fight. But you know, either way, he's on his path, we're on our path, and nothing else matters other than Deontay Wilder on December the 1st.
Has it amazed you, Tyson's popularity while you've been in the United States?
It's not amazing his popularity, but the amount of it, you know, from the moment. I'll tell you what's amazed me. It's not.
Damn, you pedo!
Please look at the state of that.
Damn, you pedo!
You gotta get a tarmac job round the corner, you lot, yeah.
Get up there, you pedo!
Yeah, it's not his popularity, but it's the comparison to the others, you know. When they was on the press tour, the attention that Tyson would get from the public compared to Deontay Wilder, it was crazy.
Did you go on that whole tour then?
Yeah, I was on the tour with him.
What did you make of it all?
It was good. It was good fun. To be honest, Deontay played right into Tyson's hands because, however, Tyson was the one who dictated how the press conferences went. If Tyson was calm, cool, and laid back, Deontay was calm, cool and laid back. If Tyson was fired up and rowdy, he was fired up and rowdy, and that's what the fight's going to be like. Tyson will be the one to set the tempo, dictate how the fight goes, what distance he's boxed at, how the fight's fought, and that'll be the game changer. But like I say, Tyson's when we was getting out the cars or heading over to anywhere, all of the public, all the attention will be on Tyson.
That's interesting that you were eagle-eyed about the press tour as well and trying to draw something from it, you know, that might actually be a strategy for the fight.
Well, that
personalities, I suppose,
and that is what boxing is. It's who can put their footmark on the fight. You know, it's who can who can dictate. That is pretty much what boxing is. If somebody's a short range fighter and I'm a long range fighter, and I can keep the fight at long range, the ball's in my court. If he can keep it at short range, the ball's in his court. It's who can stamp their authority in their game plan. And Tyson definitely done that with the press conferences.
What's the plan now? Obviously, fight week beginning whatever it is, 27th of November is taken up with. There'll be no sparring at that point. It'll all be done. So you've got 3 weeks now before that begins. What do we? I think it's 3 weeks, isn't it? Before that begins, it's 4 weeks in total, yeah. But 3 weeks before fight week. So what happens now in those next 3 weeks then?
In the next 3 weeks, we'll be brushing up on a few things. He's very, very fit already, so it's just maintaining him, pushing him on the odd few days here and there, sharpening up on a few bits. Obviously we're in the thick of it right now, so it's hard work. But I'm very keen on not overtraining. I think it's the worst thing that a fighter can do. So day by day I'll assess him, see how he feels, see how he looks, know when to push him, know when to pull him. And sometimes I'll make adjustments in the morning. I might have a session planned out, thinking in my head, right, this is what I want to do. And I know Tyson now, where if he wakes up in the morning and walks down the stairs, now first time I look at him, I can tell how he's feeling almost, So I like to take it day by day. Obviously I have an idea of how I want to go about things that day, but you have to take it day by day, see how the fighter feels, see how he's recovered from the sessions the day before or the week before or the last 3 or 4 days, and it's just about fine tuning now.
Tyson showed me a picture of himself at his very biggest, and he is unrecognisable, isn't he? Unrecognisable, Ben.
I've got some good pictures.
Yeah, I'm sure. But unrecognisable. It's quite incredible, really.
Look,
it's like a different person, isn't it?
100%, and that's what it was all about. Tyson didn't come back to boxing for anything other than he needed it to get his life back on track, and we've achieved that. So we've won.
If he wants to have a break, if he wins a belt and wants to have a break, or beats Deontay Wilder twice and wants to have a break, will you be on his back keeping him training? Because clearly, we talked about this earlier, that his weight is an indication of maybe how depression hits or how he's feeling mentally, and that when he's not feeling good, he puts more weight on. We were talking to Shane, his brother. Shane's a happy big man. Do you know what I mean? Tyson's clearly not a happy big man,
Yeah, but I don't think I'd need to be on him.
Do you think he's learnt that lesson kind of thing, or he's learnt that about himself, the wisdom, if you like?
Yeah, and to be honest, after the fights, I want him to have a bit of a rest and that, and he's straight back in the gym.
Because he's virtually been in camp for a year, hasn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. And even after the fight, he had a day or 2 days, and he was in the gym, sending me pictures of him in the gym, and he enjoys it. It's almost meditation for him, And routine and structure. If you have a look, actually, one of the first social media posts I put up working with Tyson was I put the quotation routine and consistency, and I put a key next to it, because I knew that was what Tyson was missing from his life at that time: routine and consistency. And if you speak to anybody, the most happiest they are is when they, in their life, is when they have a routine, structure, and consistency.
And they're regulated.
100%.
Yeah. What I asked Shane about this, and he said that he thinks there's a lot of pressure on Tyson from the family because they are travellers. Boxing is a part of their history and their culture. Tyson says, I'm not under any pressure at all. I'm sure it changes towards the fight. He will feel those nerves. He has to feel them. With no nerves, you can't. Your reflexes, your adrenaline, all those things don't work. Have you got a sense, being around the family all this time, just how important and how much it means to the family to have had 10 generations of bare knuckle boxers? And John's told me about the history before of the family. Have you got a sense of how important it is to the family?
100%. And to be honest with you, it means as much to me to get this win for Tyson as it does for the family, because obviously I've got to know him and grown close to him, so I know how much it means to him, and you know, I want that win for them just as much as I do for Tyson, you know. And but like I already said, you know, I'm the fact sometimes they'll say things and you know, they didn't think that Tyson had come back from where he was, and the fact that they've got him back just as a person, mentally and physically, you know, like I said, we've already won, we've already achieved.
Yeah, well, we've spoken about this, we've touched on it before, yeah, that like you say, Mission Impossible, that you've almost helped to save someone's life, someone that's loved by their family, someone that's loved by their children, who loves their children, who loves their wife. I know Paris and Tyson together, not intimately, but I've seen them together many times. I can tell what they're like. They're tight. Do you know what I mean? They're properly tight. They're a modern couple, aren't they? You know?
Yeah, 100%. And
I mean, you've lived in the house, of course. You know.
Of course,
you know.
yeah, of course. And like I say, we've already won. We've already achieved Mission Impossible, and he should be very, very proud of himself, Tyson.
Later that day, I headed down to the Wild Card Boxing Club, owned, of course, by Hall of Fame trainer Freddie Roach. Down there, I met Kristian Blacklock, who's done an incredible job over the last 11 months working with Tyson Fury in his strength and conditioning and helping the Gypsy King fight the Flab. Here's what he had to say. So, you're saying it's been evolution rather than revolution?
Yeah, because if you try and get a lot of weight off someone very quickly, there's a lot of sacrifice. If you were to, you know, when you see these diets of, like, you know, 6 weeks to lose 2 stone, etc., to do that, you lose muscle mass, you lose quality, because you can't get anywhere near enough nutrition in. You want a calorie deficit to lose weight, but if your calorie deficit is too great, you don't just lose body fat, you lose lots of water, you lose a lot of lean mass as well. So to do this over the time frame we've done it very steadily. So there's not been rapid weight loss. It'll look like that from the outside, because, you know, you'll see him and then you'll see a picture of him 3 months later, and all of a sudden, you know, you can see a big difference. But it has been just gradual. He literally hasn't had any real time off in the last year. He's trained very consistently. We've had, obviously, we're halfway through the 3rd training camp, but there's been no real, it's been more like one long training camp with a few weeks of lower intensity work after fights, rather than separate camps and pure time off. He's done little bits of exercise while he was off and away from the gym, like a footballer would do nowadays on when they're off. They'll go on the holidays, but they'll still have a little training program to keep to. That's basically what Tyson's done. He's trained while he's been on holidays and everything, so he's been very consistent, just right the way through. There's been no, like, ups or downs of the exercise. It's just been a nice, smooth, plateaued weight loss. So,
is there any danger then of not having had a break in that period?
Yeah, I mean, if, you know, in an absolute ideal world, we originally planned probably 18 months this, but because the progress has been so smooth and he hasn't had any injuries, there's been nothing that's sort of to derail. He's been very consistent on his own diet. He's been very consistent on his lifestyle. You know, he's not been, you know, he's not gone out. I think he's barely had a drink in the last 12 months. You know, he's been very, very controlled, and that means that the progress is probably a little bit ahead of schedule, which has enabled this fight to take place when it is. If not, you know, if he was still, you know, over 20 stone now, we probably wouldn't be looking at a fighting Deontay Wilder in December. But you know, as we're that far ahead of schedule, there was no reason not to take the fight.
So what's his weight gone from to what it is now?
Well, it was his weight was in the region of 28 stone, and he's, you know, he's 18 something now. I mean, we're not really worried about what he's, you know, it's not about weight now for this fight. The last 2 fights we've had little goals in terms of what we want to get into. This fight, it's we are monitoring. We look at the weight, we look at his body fat, but we're looking at just trying to get in physically the best shape possible. It's bodies don't win fights. The likes of Tyson and Tony Bellew are never going to look like an Anthony Joshua, but they don't need to for the way they perform. And Tyson is a very physically strong guy. He's very cardiovascularly fit as well. You cannot judge a book by its cover in terms of physicality.
It's good to know.
Yeah. Well, look at the David Haye fight with Tony Bellew. There was the one guy in there looked like an athlete before they went in, but there's only one guy looked like an athlete in there. Tony Bellew looked a much better physical athlete than David Haye in terms of the way he moved in the ring and the way he performed. Whereas looking at the bodies, it was the other way around. So you cannot judge purely by bodies, but you will see a noticeable physical improvement in his physique. Certainly from where he was. I've got photos on my phone from 1 year ago today, and I haven't put them out yet. But on the 1 year anniversary from that first, I took a photo on the 27th of November, and I want to put another one out on the 27th of November this year, which is obviously 4 days before the fight. The physical difference is shocking.
How does someone do that? What levels of motivation and impersonal motivation has he required to be able to do this?
Yeah, it's the trainer's obviously there to help motivate, but you've got to. I'd say this. I train Joe Public every day of the week when I'm not in camp with Tyson, and they've got to want to do it. If they don't want to do it, there's only so much pressure you can put on someone. There's only so much advice you can give someone. If somebody doesn't want to do it, they won't do it. But Tyson wants to do it. Tyson likes training. Tyson enjoys training. So there's no issue on that side of it. And with being in training and in camp, it's not as hard as you would think to keep him eating well, because he wants to do it. The second he doesn't want to box, that'll be a different story. But while he's motivated and wanting to box, then there has been no issue on Tyson's behalf.
So what's the diet he's been on throughout that 12 months then?
Yeah, there was a little bit of keto to start with, which is a sort of diet designed to work with training at a lower intensity and to target fat for fuel. So you're not taking much carbohydrate on board. So basically you are burning fat for energy. But obviously from a performance standpoint, that's not ideal, because it's like putting inferior petrol in a car. But it's very effective for burning off fat. We didn't do that very long, to be fair. It was a short period of time, and it was before we even looked at fight dates. Since then, it's just been a very, very healthy sports diet, as best I'd describe it. It's just been a mixture of just a lot of we've got a nutritionist on board who provides all the sort of meal plans for him, and it's just quality carbohydrates, quality proteins, mixture of protein sources, mixture of good carbohydrate sources.
From what to what kind of thing?
He's have everything: so eggs, fish, various meats, chicken, a little bit of red meat in there as well. You have different amino acid content to different proteins.
Things like quinoa and stuff, yeah.
No. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, and Tyson's not a massive veg lover, but we do find there are things that he will have. So there is ways you can put it in.
Asparagus, not spinach. And
you can put a few bits in there.
He'll have spinach. I know.
No, yeah. He'll have there's certain veg he will have, but we find the balance that works for him, and we've obviously. Camp number 3 now, we sort of have got a very good idea of what he likes, but we're finding new things. I mean, there's a peanut butter chicken recipe that we've had on this camp, which has been a favourite for everyone on the camp, and he loves it. So it's not he has been enjoying the food. It's not like the food's been horrible. We've had Tim's been cooking, and the food's been good all the way through. So there's if you're enjoying your food, it makes dieting a hell of a lot easier.
When you're saying about strength work as well, that he wasn't into lifting weights before, was he? What's he been doing?
Yeah, to be fair, he has. All the time I've known him, going back to the Klitschko fight, he's always done weight training. We've never not done weight training. He's always done, as much as any boxer really, I'd say. We've done over the last year, we've done sort of 2 or 3 blocks really with the different camps, where you mix up the sort of the more heavy, low repetition strength work with the more explosive and the circuits and the interval work. But
talking big weights.
Yeah, Tyson. See the size of him. I mean, he's a very big, strong guy, and we're talking some of the deadlifting, some of the heavy compound lifts have been, large numbers, very large numbers.
Say what numbers?
Deadlift, kilos. We're talking in kilos. Deadlifting, around about 250 kilos.
Wow.
And to be fair, it's us that have held it. Tyson can do probably a little bit more, but for the type of training we want, we don't necessarily want to put him to the absolute physical limit and risk an injury or anything like that. Especially, and at this stage now, coming towards the fight, it's not about the real heavyweights. There's still weight training involved, but we're sort of starting to focus a bit more on speed and explosiveness rather than pure physical strength.
That's what this fight's about. So
Yeah.
movement, speed, cardiovascular skills.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously everyone knows Wilder's got speed, so you've got to have your reflexes, and Tyson's fast himself. Tyson's got fast hands. We all know that, and he's been, if you look at the 2 fights before this, there was a progression. Obviously, from the Pianetta fight was an obvious progression from the Severi fight in terms of not just how he looked, but the speed of his movements and stuff. And he's, and we expect that to continue into this fight, him to be a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, a little bit lighter on his feet, etc.
So is it kind of, from that journey over the last year, is it almost miraculous?
Yeah. Well, if you would have said a year ago he'll be fighting for the world title within 12 months, I don't think that would have been particularly realistic from where
People would have laughed.
People would have laughed. Where he was, the size he was, it wasn't really conceivable. But once we'd done the first camp and got the bulk of the weight up, then really that was the possibilities were there. I mean, even at that point, we probably didn't expect this fight to be quite so soon, but you've got to take your opportunities, haven't you, when they come, and you don't know when. If he wanted to wait 6 months, get himself even better physical conditions, the fight might not have been there. He might have had to wait a couple of years. So, he's more than physically capable of doing it now. So there's no reason not to.
So have you been in camp with him every day for the last 3 camps then?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, my role, I've been doing sort of 3 or 4 days with him.
Every week.
Yeah, every week, a year now. Obviously, the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks where we're all in camp now, so we're here every day. But yeah, it's been very consistent. From the inside, it's been very, very smooth. It's been smooth in terms of the physical side of it. It's been smooth in terms of his psychological state. He's everyone can see he's happy. Everyone can see he's happy, and that's, if he's happy, he will train well. It makes man and Ben job a lot easier when he's in a good frame of mind, which he has been pretty much the entire comeback.
And you didn't want to stay in Big Bear for too long, because I'm hearing this thing about the air's so thin there, you actually don't know whether you're actually getting fitter there or not.
Yeah, there's an element to it. I mean, basically you've got, at sea level where we are now, you've got about 21% oxygen in the air, and up there it's nearer to 15%. We're higher than where the likes of Mo Farah trains in Colorado, and we were about 1,000 feet higher up, so even thinner air. And it's not so much if you run doing like low level sort of like quite low intensity stuff, you're fine. But once you bump the intensity up, the oxygen demand increases, and there's no oxygen to replace that, so it's hard to know how intense you're training, and it's hard to get interval work because the recovery is longer. We've noticed it, straight away coming down here, there's a massive difference in recovery rates, there's a massive difference in heart rates and breathing rates. So we can do the more intense stuff and the more explosive stuff now. We're getting close to the fight.
As much good up
well,
there.
It's just exactly 100%. That's it. You're physically working flat out, but the end product's flatter, more plateaus. Yeah, it's hard to get like peaks of speed and recover in time to do it again.
Well, this is the level you're fighting at.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we benefited. The camp up there was brilliant. We did a lot of really, really good work up there. But obviously, we felt the time was right now, coming towards the fight, to come down to sea level and just get that final little fine tuning work in. And obviously, Ben made the ultimate decision to come down, and it was we all agreed it was the right decision and the right time.
Just remind me how I describe you. What's your?
It's basically strength and conditioning coach. That's the best way of conditioning
but you're more
coach.
than that, though, aren't you?
Yeah, but I've known Tyson since the Klitschko camp, and we stayed in touch as well. And we're good friends, but in camp it's a whole team role. Yeah. So in camp now, everyone has the roles, and we all do stuff outside of our normal role. Yeah, so it is very much a team effort especially on this one.
How does he compare now in this shape than he was for the Klitschko?
Yeah, do you know that's one question I've been asked probably more often than not. I'd say even going back to the Pianetta fight, he was almost as fit as he was for the Klitschko fight. And the only physical difference is the result that you'll see looking at him is the result of having had so much weight and come off a little bit of loose skin, a little bit bits and pieces like that. But he's physically, like all the sort of performance stats that we get, he's
better than the Klitschko fight,
yeah, I'd say I think by the time the fight comes around, I think some of the things some of the data that we get will be even better than it was for the Klitschko fight, and I'm very confident you're going to see the physically best Tyson Fury possible.
Two men there who have had an incredible impact on the Gypsy King over the last year. But the final word on this podcast must go to young Ben Davison, who really has been a rock for the fighter over the last year and a half.
That Tyson's already achieved so much getting his life back on track and getting back in a happy place, which has resulted in the family being a lot happier and in a better place as well. But not only that, I've taken over his social media for leading up to this fight, and it has shocked me that thousands of people every day message Tyson to say, he's not only got his own life back on track. If you could see it with your own eyes, he's put probably thousands and thousands and thousands of people's lives back on track by being a spokesperson for mental health. By his own journey, obviously, is out there for the public to see. He's probably saved thousands of people's lives that he's never ever met, and that's
it clearly means a lot to him as well, that, doesn't it? It's given him a almost like a deeper purpose, a higher purpose to it all. Yeah.
Of course, and he doesn't go out and say this. I never even knew that he got these thousands of messages until I was on his social media. And
why have you taken over his social media then?
Just it's a less of a distraction for Tyson again, isn't it? He's only got to focus on what he's got to focus on his job at hand. But that was a shock to me, because, and I'm not just talking about, I'm talking about other top sports people as well. Always, or they'll ask Tyson a question, or they'll say thank you so much. How many people's lives he's saved, we'll never really know. Now, and for a long time coming, this will be. Just from his own journey, so he should be a very, very proud person, and he deserves all the credit that he's getting and the backing that he's getting and the support that he's getting now.
I'm Gareth A. Davis, and you've been listening to the Fighting Spirits podcast. Go to my website, garethadavis.com, to subscribe to all my work.